Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Arirang News special coverage of South Korea's first COVID-19 vaccination program. We are broadcasting live the nation's first ever vaccine inoculation, which is set to begin in the next few minutes. Now, to help us look through the latest developments and give us some background on the vaccines, we have our Lee Kyung-eun in the studio with us. Kyung-eun, welcome.
Hi, Mo-kyun.
Thank you for joining us. Now, before we turn over to the scene, let me give you some background on the current situation. The vaccines that are being rolled out today are from AstraZeneca, and they have been produced at an SK Bioscience factory in Andong, Gyeongsang-namdo Province, from where they were sent to a distribution center in Icheon in Gyeonggi-do Province. Now, beginning Thursday, vaccines for a total of 785,000 people have been or are being delivered to some 260 health centers and at least 1,600 nursing facilities nationwide, with deliveries to be completed by Sunday. Now, in the first round of AZ vaccinations, some 289,000 healthcare workers and patients aged under the age of 65 will receive their first jab. Korean health authorities previously announced that 2 doses with an interval of around 8 to 12 weeks should be administered. Now, before vaccinations begin, Kyung-eun, details of who will be the first to receive the shots have been an issue all over the world. Now, South Korea's health authorities have announced that there are many people who could have priority for the first shots. Can you give us more details on that?
Yes, Morgan. Well, there was a lot of attention on the question. So who will be the first recipient of COVID-19 vaccinations here in South Korea? Well, the government has decided it will not designate a single person for the title. Instead, it said all recipients who will be getting the shots today at 9 a.m. will be considered the first ones. It is due to the fact that the inoculations are taking place across the country simultaneously rather than at a particular facility with a single person. That is regarded as the government's efforts to put more focus on the first day of the vaccination rather than the first recipient.
Now, you've mentioned that the vaccinations are being held simultaneously across the nation. Now, where exactly is this being held?
Well, the AstraZeneca vaccines are administered through 3 different platforms. First, the nursing hospitals will be carrying out the inoculations on site. That is because it has the infrastructure and resources to carry out the inoculations on their own. But the care homes or the related nursing facilities will, those workers and patients will have to visit public health centers in the local district. That is because they don't have that resources. The other option is that the team of staff from the public health center will be visiting the related nursing facilities to carry out inoculations for anyone who has restricted mobility.
Now, let's turn over to a site where the vaccinations will happen in the next few minutes. We will turn over to the Mapogu district. We're now currently seeing footage of one of the health centers in the Mapogu district. It looks like a recipient is answering questionnaires ahead of his vaccination.
Yes, that is the first step the recipients have to take in order to get the vaccines. That is the very first step, and that is the waiting section, which is one of the 3 steps that they'll be going through throughout the vaccination process.
What are the 3 steps that you've mentioned?
So the waiting section, and next is the vaccination site, and is the post-monitoring section. So in the waiting section, he'll be filling out the questionnaires related to the medications that he's taking, or if he has any history of allergic reaction to any vaccines or medication, or any other chronic illnesses that could possibly cause adverse reactions.
Yes, thank you for that, Kyung-eun. We can see in the footage that the man is wearing a mask and answering a bunch of questions from in a paper. And we are also able to see a place where recipients are expected to wait for their turn. And apparently they are also supposed to observe social distancing measures in the area as well. Now, the man who we're watching right now is expected to head over to to see the doctor for diagnosis. And Kyungwon, I heard that there is a special syringe that will be used in today's inoculation.
Yeah, the special syringes the so-called low dead volume syringes minimize the dead volume in the syringes, which means it can extract extra dose when used for vaccines. But its effectiveness for AstraZeneca's vaccine is not being confirmed. But when it comes to inoculating Pfizer's vaccines, those syringes are known to have extract an extra dose. So usually it was 5, but using the special syringes, it could extract 6 doses.
Yes, and as we were speaking, the recipient headed over to the doctor's office and is currently speaking with the doctor.
That is very important because he'll be, the doctor is there in order to screen whether he is in a proper health condition to get the jab. And he will also be checked, he will also have his temperature checked, which means if he has temperature over 37.5 degrees Celsius, he will be recommended to get COVID-19 test before being vaccinated.
That's a very important point. We are currently listening to the doctor asking questions about the conditions, health conditions of the recipient. And now I believe the recipient is now headed to the inoculation area where he will be receiving the first historic jab of the COVID-19 vaccine. He was asked to submit his identification requirements.
Yes, that is to verify that he is eligible to get the jab because, in South Korea, the inoculations are taken in a phased manner and inoculations are given to different groups at a different time. And in this Q1, it is for the nursing, hospital, facility workers and patients.
Now, we are currently seeing a footage of South Korean President Moon Jae-in, who visited the site himself to accompany the first recipient, one of the first recipients rather, in his first inoculation process. Accompanied by President Moon is also the commissioner of the Korea Centers for Disease Control and Prevention Agency, Chung Eun-kyung, but we are still yes, and she is right beside him. Now, the inoculation process is ongoing right now in our footage. The nurse sanitized her hands before the process.
So after getting the vaccine shot, he will be required to stay at least 15 to 30 minutes to monitor any immediate adverse reaction. And even after that, arriving at home, he will be required to self-monitor for 3 hours and up to 3 days.
Yes. We just saw footage that he just finished receiving his first shot of the AstraZeneca vaccine, and accompanied by President Moon Jae-in and the Commissioner of the Korea Centers for Disease Control and Agency, Chung Eun-kyung. He's leaving the inoculation room right now.
So across the country today, there will be about 5,000 people like him who will be getting their first jab by the AstraZeneca vaccine.
Now, Kyungwon, now that the first shot has been given, more people will be vaccinated throughout the day. And how will authorities keep track of the health conditions of those who got the shots?
Well, the government has set up a new comprehensive monitoring system which will operate online, and they'll be tracking the vaccine supply and manage the recipients who are eligible for the inoculations in that phased manner. And they'll be also monitoring any adverse reactions that are reported through that website.
Now, I believe before South Korea had this first COVID-19 vaccine inoculation, other countries already inoculated the AstraZeneca vaccine, and there were some side effects that have been reported. Can you tell us more on that?
Well, actually, side effects are not that new to any vaccines. Any vaccines could cause side effects, and the government, the authorities have warned that fatigue and some pain in that administered area is very possible, and it is not something to be too serious about. But severe symptoms could occur, like serious allergic reactions. In that case, the recipients have to go see a doctor immediately, and they have to find out the correlation between the symptom and the vaccination. And they can report or file a complaint to the government about their symptoms, which the government will provide compensation, but there will be the decision will be made within the time of 120 days, but only with the condition that they have found the correlation between the symptoms and the vaccination.
Now that the vaccines have begun being administered, now what is South Korea's next step in the vaccination process?
Well, so with this first round of COVID-19 vaccinations using the AstraZeneca vaccines, some 289,000 people, patients and workers at nursing hospitals and facilities will be inoculated by March. That means, by that I mean the first jabs by March and the second dose by June. But on this historic day, we'll be also receiving the Pfizer vaccine from the COVAX facility, and the inoculations will begin straight away tomorrow. And that will run through March, and with that, 55,000 frontline medical workers treating COVID-19 patients will be inoculated.
So that will probably contribute to the government's goal of achieving herd immunity by November, right?
By 70%.
Now, I'm afraid we will have to wrap up our live coverage of South Korea's first COVID-19 vaccine inoculation. Kyung-eun, thank you so much for your efforts today.
My pleasure.
Now, we will have more details on the topic in our later newscast, so please stay tuned. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.